In this video, we'll discuss nomenclature for amines. So generically speaking, an amine is a compound that has a nitrogen and then three groups coming off of it. It has one lone pair of electrons. In terms of priority, amines are higher in priority than triple bonds and double bonds, which are higher in priority than R or X. As a substituent, if there is a higher priority group on the compound, an amine is designated an amino substituent. So you would just put a locant for wherever it was on the chain and then the word amino. Amines are often called by their common names, which is where the groups coming off of the nitrogen are described. So if, for example, I have this guy, where I have three ethyl groups coming off, this is just called triethylamine. And it's all one word. If you have an asymmetrical compound, then you just put your substituents in alphabetical order right up against the word amine. So here I have a benzyl group and an ethyl group, and if nothing is noted, then we know that the third group or whatever remaining groups must be hydrogens. So this would be benzyl ethyl amine. Lastly, another much used common name is for the derivatives of aniline. And so aniline is when I have a nitrogen coming directly off of a benzene ring. I could have substituents on the benzene ring or coming off the nitrogen. When they're coming off the nitrogen, I need to note that by using N as the locant. So this would be N ethyl, N methyl aniline. And you would just do that in alphabetical order. So I've got ethyl coming before methyl, and then N is my locant. So the other way to name amines is using the Iapec nomenclature. And so that's sort of similar to what we see for alcohols. You're going to start with your longest chain and number to give the amine the highest priority if it is the highest priority group. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so this guy would be hexane 2 amine. So instead of having the E on the end, you put the whole word amine there, and that's how we know that it's an amine. Commonly now, it's better and more common to put the locant directly in front of amine, and so you'll see instead of 2-hexaneamine, hexane 2 amine. Either way, people are going to know what you're talking about, but the more common way to do it now is to put the locant directly in front of the amine part. Okay, so let's look at one more example. All right, so I'm going to start numbering to give the nitrogen the lowest possible number. So 1, 2, 3, 4 from the right-hand side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from the left-hand side. So I'll start from the right-hand side, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to be using nitrogen as a locant here because I have a methyl and an ethyl coming off of it, and I'll put my substituents out front in alphabetical order. So I would have N6 diethyl, and then N5 dimethyl, and then octane dash 4 amine. So I've got an N and a 6 as locants for my ethyl groups. I have 2 of them, so that tells me where they're coming off. An N and a 5 for my methyl groups, that tells me where they're coming off. Oct tells me that I have an 8-membered long chain, and then I have 4 amine, so that tells me that it's an amine, and that amine is at the 4 position.